Welcome back, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan here for today on the show. What can I say? She's back. The incredible, the amazing, the badass, the superstar, the legendary, the one and only, a superhero by far. We all know that. Sam, how are you today?
Oh my God, Dad, please, back at you, man. I mean, we've known each other now for years. Actually, this is, I think, the third apartment I've lived in since we've met, which says something. Like,
Yeah.
that's multiple moves now. So we've been through a lot of life together, is what I have to say, Dan. I'm so happy to be here.
Totally. Yeah, I think the first time we spoke, you were promoting your first upcoming film.
Yes,
And
exactly. Oh my God.
3 years ago.
Wow. That was 2021. And that was my film was coming out. So that would have been 2021. So that is crazy. Almost 4 years. Aw, well, I'm so glad to be back, Dan. It's so good to see you.
Absolutely. Same here. I mean, what better way to have an incredible, super badass Wednesday than to be chatting again with someone as badass as you? You know what I mean? Already the highlight of the week by far.
Thanks, Dan. Honestly, same. I love chatting with you. I mean, literally, I love chatting with Dan and how cool for all of us that it gets to be a show. So just jazz.
Now, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow. It helps a lot. But also in the description below, you're going to find all of Sam's social media. Let's follow her. Let's find out. I mean, by this point, you should know why she's super badass, case or not. Well, in every conversation she has been in, she always keeps showing how badass she is. So probably you're going to discover how badass she is right now. Right, so without further more, let's jump in. So, for today, I have a couple of cool questions here, starting with the first one, right? The acting world demands constant hustle, right? Auditions, networking, staying relevant. So how do you personally navigate the pressure to always be on, let's say, while still making space for a real, fulfilling kind of your life outside of the whole acting of it?
I've been acting since I was a kid, and it didn't become like me pursuing it as a career until I was just thinking about this, until I was a teenager in high school. And once I hit those teen years and I was kind of fed up with my high school drama program because they played favorites and they tried to typecast me as old women, I went and started doing community theater and local college theater. And then when I graduated, I just moved out and started doing it in LA. So that really was kind of like when I was thrust into sort of the frenzy of what it is to be like an actor trying to make it in Hollywood. And I think it's important for me to start there because I didn't go to college, and for a lot of actors, we're not taught how to be an actor and how to, make it in the biz. There are so many courses and classes and coaches and people, but something that I think is really important is to figure out what is best for you. But in order to figure that out, you have to literally just do things and try them and see what happens. So that being said, I feel like because I was also like in survival mode, like serving and just trying to pay my bills. I was living on my own for the first time. So for like the first 5 years of my like professional acting career, like pursuing it, I was doing everything I could get my hands on. Every job, every audition, every like anything. And it was to the point where there was no time to sleep. There was no time to hang out with your friends. There was no time to, do some journaling, do some meditating, take care of yourself, eat food that's, nourishing for your body. It was very much just like go, go, go. And I think that's something that we really need to work on in the entertainment. Well, in not even the entertainment industry, this is also the world, Dan. And I'm sure you can understand this, where there's like this hustle culture in general, I think under like capitalism too, where it's like you have to be producing or else you're going to like die. Like that's what it kind of feels like sometimes. And so that's totally what it feels like as a young actor, like starting out in the biz. So for me, that's essentially what it was. I didn't really know who I was because I was just going from being like a young, like child actor person who was just doing it for fun to then having to transition to you now need to pay your bills. You now need to get in front of every casting director that ever existed. You need to be auditioning for everything so you can get, footage for your reel. And there's just no time and space to just be. That I'm just going to go on my little tangent here. That led me to the next phase of this is like 10 years. So I was 19, I'm 29 now. So that was my first 5 years. The next 5 years, I went from being an auditioning actor to what I call a DIY actor. And that was me being so fed up with the hustle, 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 go, 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 not feeling fulfilled, not having fun. Also, that was a big one. And I decided to take a break from auditioning and create my own work. And like that happened with the pandemic, where I became like someone who started a production company. I made a short film, I made a one-woman show, and I actually took a break during that time, a 2-year break, just to focus on myself, because I realized after all those years of not doing anything but hustle, 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 I hadn't actually looked at like who I am I happy, what's happening in my life, how am I spending my days. And I know that's your 20s, like that's life, but anyway, here I'll give myself a second to breathe. But honestly, Ben, my journey so far has been figuring that out, and I'm now kind of in a place where I feel like I'm finding more of a balance, and I'm so grateful to be here. Okay, I'm gonna take a breath.
Back when I started, I remember that very first episode, the person that I was interviewing, she told me, yeah, like at the end, that if I wanted to kind of pursue this as a hobby or more as a career, right? Then I told her
Yes.
like, you know what, I want to kind of doing it as a career. This was fun, and I wanna, I wanna see like the end to it, let's say. And then she
Yeah.
told me that it's great, but keep in mind a couple of things. One, there's gonna be a bunch of sacrifices, meaning that you're not gonna be able to be with friends, family, social events, things like that, because you're gonna be have to work on your craft too. But a lot of people that were close to you might kind of pushing you away because they think you will become like this arrogant person who doesn't want to get hang on with them. But it's not like
Mm,
that. It's because you kind of are focusing on your own path, which is understandable. And
yes.
once you kind of understand those things, trust me, even though that it might be like a rough path, you're gonna be with people who kind of understand that. So at first I was like, what the hell is she talking about? But as time went by, I was like, okay. I get it now. It's because it is true, as the more you're kind of working on your craft, on your own passion, it happens that you will see friends kind of pushing you away somehow, or perhaps you will gather with your friends, but it's not gonna be the same as before because you have like a different mindset now as
Yes.
back then. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of changes happen and it's overwhelming for sure. So I started to understand that at the same time during that transition, it is also important to take care of you. Have this time to welcome this kind of new version of yourself to kind of be working with that. So the whole transition to it will be like more easier for you, and you're gonna be at the same time eventually gonna find people who understand the very same thing. So it's funny because you kind of end up a little bit alone somehow, but at the same time you're not alone because you have like this new community you are working on. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, yes, you nailed it, Dan. Ugh, I love listening to this. Like I'm thinking about it in my own life, and that's something I've been thinking about lately. Where I'm like, okay, there's work time, there's social time, and there's like self time. Those are kind of the little three categories I've been putting my like time in, and it's gonna fluctuate throughout your life. And yeah, as you're building your career, like your work is going to become more of your life. And for me, I feel like I love that this person told you this, because it's so true. And I realized the way that I've learned it is by going through the extremes. So I'm either like only doing social things and la la la, like living life, or I'm only doing work and I'm like in it, like crazy, crazy, crazy. And I'm so glad that finally now I'm like, okay, there's a time and place for everything, and nothing lasts forever. Like life. I mean, life is short, but it's also long. Like and when you have goals and dreams and aspirations, and especially like when that fire is in you and you have that passion, like do what's best for you, like write it. Because exactly what you're saying is, honestly, I'm in a new wave of that right now, where I've spent so much time being social and building my communities. And it's been interesting to understand, yeah, like what friendships are on the same page and wavelength as me, doing exactly like you said. Like they're also pursuing their goals, so there's never hard feelings or things being taken personally. And it's so important. And it's like, it's also, we're all humans, so it's tough as we all navigate what we even want right now, or what even feels right for us right now. And I mean, I just want to shout out the Four Agreements. I don't know if you've read the book The Four Agreements, but
No,
I
it's
highly recommend. Oh man, yeah, the Four Agreements are: don't take anything personally, be impeccable with your word, never make assumptions, and always do your best. Those are the Four Agreements. And those Four Agreements have like honestly changed my life. And I try to share them with everyone, because I think it just helps us humans bring peace to our human experience, as we're all navigating, so because we're all going through these things that you and I are talking about, in different levels, in different ways. And so yeah, it's just very important to acknowledge. So I love that you're on this journey too, Dan. I feel like we're always in sync too. I love talking
totally.
about this stuff.
During this whole transition, with the whole chat with Dan, it's in June. It's gonna be 4 years now. But something that
Oh,
yeah, time goes crazy, right? But
Wow.
something that kind of shocked me the most was, I think it was last year. Yeah, last year. So last year, my father had like a heart attack, right? He made it through. He's fine now,
Yes,
but like
that's right.
during that time, he had his heart attack. And what amazed me the most, it was that people from the community that I have built, the actors, the musicians, the models, writers, like all of them, they became like more supportive than my actual friends who have knew me since we were little. You know what I mean? It kind of make me
Mm.
wonder like what the hell's going on here. I mean, I didn't take it personally for sure because everybody has their own busy lives, which is totally understandable. No hard feelings there. At the same time, I was like, so what is going on here? And I even told my father like, hey, you have like around 300 messages from people wishing you the best right now.
Oh.
And it got me to this point. Like I took it somehow like as a sign maybe to be like, okay, so is this the right community then? Like this community that I have created and who have welcomed me, like somehow. And the fact that from these people I have, I think, met only one in person, but the rest of them haven't met them at all in person, live in different countries, different languages, cultures, totally
Mm.
opposites here. We might have things in common, we might not have things in common, but hey, at the end, they are showing more support than my actual people that who are supposed to be closer to me. So what ended up happening to me, be like, you know what? Then I think I know where my path should be in from now on, and try to continue on that line. And whoever wants to join in, fine. And whoever wants to leave, that's totally fine as well. I think it's part of growing up too, that
Mm.
some people will stick with you, and at the same time you will have to be able to also push people away, because if they are not kind of in this transition of helping you out, because that's like another thing here. When I turned 30, I was like, you know what, from now on I want to have people on my life that can actually bring me something positive to it. If they don't bring me something positive to it, then I don't want them in my life. And it's not to be mean or anything, but I want something, I want the positivity with me so I can continue on this journey. So it got me like more selective to it somehow.
Absolutely. I so agree, Dan. And I was talking to a friend about this, about how, you need people in your life who can take care of your heart. And like same in like vice versa, because that's something that I realized. And actually around the same time the pandemic happened and I made this big career transition, I was looking at my communities and I was saying, I've got everybody's backs, but I don't know who's really got mine. And it hurt for a while. And I made it like a very tangible decision to say I'm only going to have people in my life just like you did, who love me like I love them, and like reciprocal and like care. And like for you specifically, you're a deep feeler and you're very introspective and you're very intelligent and very empathetic. And I will say, us artists, we are too. And so it actually makes sense that we are all in community together because we kind of feel from the same place. Like, because that's something too that I realized is, oh, I'm a very sensitive person. And I had a lot of people in my life who would call me too sensitive or stop being so dramatic or chill out or you're so extra, you're so loud. And once I shifted this focus, now I'm just normal because the people in my life are just like me. They're also deep feelers and they're also expressive and they're lovers and they give. And like, honestly, it has filled me up. And it sounds like you're also experiencing that. So I'm just so happy for the both of us. It really matters who you have in your life too. And one other thing I want to share is my therapist, she shared with me the concept of the bullseye of intimacy. So you are in the middle of the bullseye, and then all the people that you know are on all of the different rungs in the bullseye. So basically, I'm sure you can gather, like the people in the closest are your inner circle. So they're the ones that you can tell about the big things that are happening, they'll always be happy for you and supportive for you. And then it kind of goes out from there, acquaintances, work people, whatever. That's been really helpful for me to kind of manage expectations of the people in my life, because I'm not going to expect, people on the outer rungs to be happy for me and excited and fun and always supportive like people who are maybe on my closest ring. And that's just been very, very helpful for me because I'm someone who well, it's kind of a weird paradox because like I've spent my life thinking that people think the same way that I do, but then also feeling like I'm crazy and no one thinks like I do. But anyway, I share that because I'm like, okay, yeah, not everybody is going to understand things the way that I do or react things the way that I do. So anyway, knowing who fits where on the bullseye has been huge for me because it gave me a lot of heartache. So yeah, I just wanted to share because I so relate to your friend's situation and
Totally.
it's very important.
And it's also interesting the fact that once you have like the right circle, let's say, on your personal life, right? It's interesting
Mhm.
how sometimes pieces of those people you have met along the way, somehow they're gonna stick with you and somehow they're gonna be
Mhm.
transforming into this. I was having this conversation the other day on an episode. and we were chatting about how interesting the fact that somehow, you finish a project, right? You're good to go. The character is gone now, but somehow parts of that character are gonna stick with you because at the end it's you who played it, right? And they have shaped you somehow into this new version of you. So eventually, when
Mm.
you get the chance to create another character, it's inevitable that without you even knowing, perhaps, that pieces of the previous one you have played are gonna gather again to create this new form. And the same thing kind of relates as you meet people, right? And it's so interesting because, like, on my end here, the fact that I'm being able to speak with so many people from all over the world, the stories from so many people that I've met, that somehow I was
Ooh.
able to, to grab this from them, kind of put it in my personal life. And now this version, is it like me or is it like a mix between everyone so I can be this new one, let's say? You know what I mean?
It's really interesting because to what you're saying, the way that I actually see it is if you find someone that vibes with you, like maybe they're able to bring out a part of you that was always there, and like you're just able to actually experience it and say, oh, wow, this is me. I didn't even realize this was me. Or an experience you have, wow, I did this new thing. I had no idea that was even in me. So, like, I feel like there's an infinite amount of like possibilities of who we can be and how we show up. And also, yeah, I mean, if you're a human who is present and living in, the world, like we all have so much more in common than I think we realize. So it's like we all want to be loved. We all want to, at some point like be seen, be heard, be understood. So there's also that where I think there's kind of a universal human experience. So I hear what you're saying, but there's so much that makes each of us unique and special, and also so much that ties us together. So I don't know, I just want to say that. So I'm thinking about that a lot lately too.
Tell me, do you think actors are giving enough permission to rest, or is there like an unspoken fear that stepping away means falling behind?
As someone who took 2 years away from the industry, I can say before I took those 2 years off, I couldn't have imagined ever doing that because, as I mentioned, there is this expectation, especially, I mean, okay, there's the narrative that women, especially, you're dead by the time you're 30 and you have to go and you have to move and you have to whatever. And I have actually, I don't believe in that. And I think that that's thankfully being stripped away slowly because I see people like Jean Smart, Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, Viola Davis, like Meryl Streep, like all these greats who are at the top of their game in their 60s, 70s, 80s. And seeing them, I'm like, they wouldn't be able to play the roles that they're playing without the life experience that they've had, whether it's on camera or off camera. And honestly, I mean, I am currently in the works of bringing back my one woman show called Sam. And it's about me and about these 10 years that I've been talking about in my career of when I really lost myself kind of in the biz and in the thick of it. And I don't think I would have been able to make this show if I hadn't taken those 2 years off to look inside of myself and say, who am I? What's even happening in my life, inside my brain, inside my heart? Like, what do I even want? And so I actually think it's imperative. And I know a lot of people have said this, but as actors, of course, you need to live as a human to be able to be a good actor. And I think that's very true because now, like having the time away from the business, I was able to understand what I actually want from the entertainment industry, from my future roles, like for my career. Because when you're kind of in the thick of it, you maybe don't even have the time to really look at what do I actually want? Because you're so busy shooting the next self tape, going to the next workshop, working your 18 day jobs. So, like, I'm really grateful because now, like, in these 2 years that I took for my break, I was able to try stand-up comedy and I took a comedy class, but I did them just for fun, not for my career. And I realized, oh, I have always been a comedy girly. Like that's what I am attracted to just in general when I don't have any work expectations or have to pay the bills, things like tied to it. And so now I'm able to move forward and go, okay, I'm going to actually move forward doing comedy and be way more specific about how I'm even going about my career. So I think taking breaks is imperative. And I will also say, I do not have an agent right now. I do not have a manager right now. And I think if you are a repped actor who has representation, there is going to be an expectation unless you have like a long-standing, relationship with your rep that understands, hey, I'm going going to take a year off or something. Like if you are represented, like you're going to have to be going out for stuff. Like that's going to have to be part of your journey. So I think also making decisions, like I've made a lot of decisions along the way just to kind of like help myself to, you know, just let go of the expectations of the career and really understand what I actually want. And this concept of being a DIY actor has been me doing my own thing to figure out what it even is that I want to do. Because even in making my short film that I made trying, you know, it ended up not being a comedy, even though when I wrote it, I really wanted it to be a comedy. And that film changed my life. But doing that, I realized, oh, you know, that wasn't so fun. Like doing this more dramatic role was like actually like crying in my car. That actually wasn't so fun. But I had to go through that and do that to understand what I wanted to do. And then I will say, the only other thing I'll say, my one woman show, I built in a lot of improv into the show. It's a live musical, it's a scripted show, but I have improvised sequences throughout the show because I like the feeling of things being really alive and unpredictable, and we're all here together and we don't know what's going to happen next. And in performing that show that way, I was able to be the most present I have ever been as an actor while performing that show. And I was able to have the space to build that muscle of being incredibly present. There are people who came up to me afterwards, like, do you do Meisner? You must be a Meisner girl, because he's all about like being in the moment, being very real. And I was like, no, I've never had any formal training, but making the show, I had this space and time and energy to be able to play and try new things and see what happens. Then I was able to like build up to this place of being able to be so present, authentic, and moving and real and touching to people like I've never been before. And now I can take that into my career moving forward, which I absolutely did not have before. Because when you're auditioning, when you're on set, you don't have time. Like you don't have time to explore these things. You need to be ready to go. Like acting classes, of course, would be the place to explore this. But even with acting classes, you know, there's a lot going on with acting classes that teach a lot of different kinds of things. So figuring out what is best for you is going to be its own journey. So I'm so grateful for my DIY actor phase, because that has really given me so many tools that I can now go back into the auditioning world with, which I'm planning on doing. And I feel so much better equipped now than I was before. And it wouldn't have been without this 2-year break and this 5 years of being a DIY actor.
Totally. I mean, it's important to make sure that you're taking breaks every now and then. And, you know, we will see examples like a lot of time, you know, if we have like Demi Moore. She was away like what, like 20 years, something like that, 15 years,
Yes.
something. She comes back, does the film,
Yes.
now she's nominated for Best Actress. Boom. You know what I mean? That I
No.
think that kind of shows you that there is not like a specific age where you can actually, you know,
Or
become
time
like the
frame.
biggest or something, or you're right, or time frame. I think
Yes.
that if you are true on what you're pursuing and you're passionate about it and you actually put the work to it, you can be 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and you're still going to be able to keep standing out, you know, because it's what actually drives you, let's say, you know.
Yes, definitely. And to like the self work. Because like thinking about her 20 years, my 2 years, like just to really like tap into like who you are and how you operate, like that's going to serve you so much as you navigate whatever it is, whether it's your career or your life. Like I've been really focusing on working smarter, not harder lately. And that's been a big reason, is understanding like, oh, I learned in these 2 years that I have ADHD. Like, got it. Didn't know that before. So now I can, knowing that, I can be so much better prepared to do anything in my life. And thank God, because I don't know that I would have known that if I hadn't made my film about ADHD and taken these 2 years. So anyway,
Yeah,
keep
it's all
screaming to
about
the rooftops. Take a
I
couple
mean,
years off.
it's all about make sure that you took the rest enough for you to continue moving forward, right? I mean, at the end, your body is the instrument. You know, you need to make sure that you continue. That same time you're working hard, sure, but you know, take some time off. You know, it's something that I have also discovered. You know, back when I started, had this idea like I'm gonna go all in. You know, all crazy, like non-stopping.
Sure.
And from having 12 interviews daily after 6 months of doing that constantly, the 6 month I was like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. You know what, I'm done. I'm tired. You know,
I
and I had
remember. Yeah, you burnt out.
and I had like this idea, like, should I continue? Should I not continue? So it took me like a few months to kind of understand that it wasn't that. It was just my body was begging for some rest, actually, you know, to actually make sure that, yes, it's okay that you want to work in this new craft you are developing, which is fine. But at the same time, you need rest. You need time to cool off. Then it's interesting because during those times when you kind of take a break, is when inspiration hits you even like harder. You know what I mean? Like more
Yes.
ideas will start to pop up, like everything you start to connect, you know. And I think that's like the sign here that at the end it's okay for you to, you know, take some time off. I mean, at the end the world will still be there and everything is gonna keep
Yep.
functioning with or without you. So why not just focus on yourself. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. And well, something that really hit me too is like we're similar in that we learn by doing. And like learning also like takes so much energy and doing also takes so much energy. So something that really has helped me understand is like meaning takes energy. So like everything in your life takes energy. So like what are you going to spend your limited energy on, and getting just so hyper specific about it? Because just like you with your first 6 months, that was how I made my short film, and I completely burnt out afterwards. And I was like, I never want to do this again. I'm never going to crowdfund. I'm never going to make a film again. I'm never going to do anything again. And now, of course, a couple years later, then I was ready to make my one woman show, and it was because I had time to rest. So yeah, the self care is so important. And I'm so glad you're back and you found a balance, Dan, because you're awesome. Like I love your show, and I'm so happy to see your journey over these years because it's really impactful and important and proof that you can make it work, and like there are going to be growing pains as you learn new things too. That's been a big one for me.
With this whole transition you have been through and everything, how would you redefine, like, what would be your definition for success right now? Like, would it be like beyond just booking roles? So, or is like a little bit more on your self-worth? Like, how has your definition of success has changed over the years?
When I was younger, it was all about just like work, work, work. And in turn, like I had no self-worth outside of my work. And it's interesting because I just watched Taylor Swift's documentary Miss Americana last night, and she was saying that all she wanted was the applause. She just wanted to know that she was a good girl and that she did a good job. I was like, wow, yeah, like for me, it was very much like I just need to know that I am valued by my work. Like that is how I was raised to be valued. My dad was a very hard worker and he owned his own business. He's always been a very DIY person. I'm the same way. So that was always kind of how I measured my self-worth. So it's not like I had any specific goals. Like once I reach this, then I'll be happy. But it was more just like, please, someone just tell me that I'm good because I am a hard worker and then everything will be okay. And I think now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, yeah, what do I actually want in my life? And how do I actually want to feel? And after these past many years of self growth, the DIY actor period, the last 5 years has been a big self growth period where I finally started going to therapy, doing the artist way, reading all these books. And now I'm like, okay, I just want to be happy, at peace, and comfortable. And for my acting career specifically, I have a little tagline for myself, and it's heart, humor, humanity. So, and actually, that can kind of apply to my real life too, where it's like those are kind of my three hallmarks where I really value heart, humor, and humanity. So, if people are involved, if I'm making people laugh, if I'm touching people's hearts, like that's what's really important to me. So, from moving forward in my career, like I really want to work on projects that fit one of those three categories. And honestly, I mean, I'm 29. I've hit my 10 years in the biz. My next goal is to be making money doing this because that's, the biggest kind of challenge that us like working class actors have is making consistent money and income. And I'm understanding finally that like you can still have like a whole complete, or maybe spiritual life while also making money. Because I think for a long time too, like we see all these billionaires with money and they're seen as bad people, that are maybe not doing a lot to help the world. So I think I've been having to unpack my own feelings about money and understanding that having money is not a bad thing. And because I'm someone who wants to help the world and I want to amplify, human experiences and support people and bring communities together, that I actually do need money to do that. So honestly, that's my next career goal, which I am very excited to break through and make happen. So we'll see what happens. But honestly, I mean, outside of that, I'm very grateful because my one woman show, Sam, honestly, like has felt like kind of the pinnacle of my career, where I was able to have all three of those things: heart, humor, humanity. And a lot of people have been touched by my show or have inspired by watching me create my show, and they want to make their own. And that has been incredibly impactful for me, as well as my short film Trying. It recently went viral and it's got over like 300,000 views, and all these people like saying how much the film has changed their lives. And so honestly, I mean, I don't mean to brag, but I have reached a great level of fulfillment in making my two projects that I had these past few years because of the impact they've had on my communities. So what I want to do in the future is just do more of that. And I'm so just grateful to be here, man. Wow. Like reflecting on that is like really crazy because at the end of the day, it took me getting to this point of being like, I'm just gonna do it myself to create these beautiful things. So yeah, anyway,
It takes time, definitely. That is one thing that I
totally.
that I just keep repeating to myself, that whatever you're pursuing is it's gonna take time, and
Yeah.
don't focus only on the destination. I do think that it's on the journey when you get the chance, like during that path is when you get the chance to enjoy more of it, so you can learn more new things, you will meet new people, and all of that eventually will subside, and yeah, will take you to your destination. And about success is so interesting because yeah, things change, and your
Yes.
ideals constantly are changing, and I think at the end, as long as you get where you want to, and it's actually a happy place for you. Everybody has different definitions. What I ended up discovering is that it's better if I just focus on my definition because it's my life. So why would I want to why would I want other definition from somebody else, if at the end it's my life and it's me who are in this journey, who wants to get have like this end goal, let's say, somehow. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. So important, Dan. Like, and like with the acting career or with any career, it's like, I don't know, like the world tells you you have to fit in some box, or you have to check off something, or you have to have, the 2.5 kids and the family, whatever. Like, I think it's really important to remember that truly everything is a choice. So if we're really conscious and really understanding, like, do I actually want this? I think it's really helpful because, like, for me with like the acting career thing, it's like people are always like, "Oh, one day you're gonna get an Oscar," like as if like that's like the pinnacle of the acting career, and it always kind of rubbed me the wrong way because it was like, I know they don't mean anything by it because they believe in me and they want the best for me, and that's a big marker of success. But it's like that's not always the goal for everybody. So like also understanding that, like, I don't know, like don't let the noise get to you, and like keep doing you, babe, and like have people that you can lean on because it's also, I don't know, life is a crazy road. Just felt called to share.
Totally. Yeah, I mean that's the way it is. I do think, like this kind of fake ideas of success sometimes happen due to the fault of the media. You know what I mean? I remember, I mean,
Sure.
like even to this day, always the same conversation goes, that is, are you making money? And
Mm,
it's so interesting because, like, for so many people out there, the definition of success is who has the most money, right? But at least to
totally.
me, who has been discovering more and more about life in general and things like that, I get to this idea, like, I'm not gonna, I mean, sure, yes, money's important for sure, and I do want to have like a
Yeah,
good place in which I can live, a good livelihood, like whatever that.
exactly.
But that's one thing. But to
Yes.
actually make sure that I want to pursue this huge amounts of money and like all of that and success, I do think that when you're focusing only on those stuff, you're never gonna make it. That thing that is never gonna happen because your actions to it are not gonna be real. As somebody who is just following their passion because they love it,
Yeah.
tends to get like even more successful. So I think that that is like the message to it, that sometimes we get blinded by this media thing and we will see only like the glamorous things and all of that, and somehow they think that it's 100% like that when clearly it's not. I've heard there was this famous actor that I just keep forgetting his name, that even
Mm,
till this day he won an Oscar, I think. Yeah, he won an Oscar. That even till
mm.
this day in his hometown he plays locally as a DJ in a bar,
Amazing.
just for the fun of it. You know what I mean? So
Yes, totally. And it's, I just want to acknowledge that it's a really tricky balance because, you want to have goals to work towards, but also you don't want those goals to be your entire self-worth, because then it gets to the point of if I don't get them, then I am now unworthy, or I am now, I have no will to do anything or live, or, that's kind of extreme. But yeah, it's very interesting because I was thinking about this for myself where I'm like, I think my goals really span for about 6 months. Like that's maybe as far as my goals usually go. Like I'm thinking about the next 6 months. Like that's as far out I'll go because I'm like, okay, if I have a project or something coming up, then like what needs to happen in that time to make that happen. But beyond that, I don't know, man. Anything's possible. And like the phrase for now has been really big for me because I'm like, I could change everything tomorrow. Like what I'm wanting or what I want to do or where I'm going could change literally tomorrow. So release, like just really the concept of like detachment and releasing expectations really is a huge pathway to freedom while also having the, yeah, the motivation or the discipline or the passion or the drive to pursue things that do bring you joy and, or or income or anything, like we're talking about. Like we want to be comfortable and we want to be at peace and we want to be able to live and enjoy today. But yeah, that's just a very interesting balance that I've been thinking about lately too, because I'm like, it's not that I don't have goals, it's just that anything is possible and I'm just going to work on what I can right now of what's realistic, because then you don't want to set yourself up for disappointment and you want to be able to still enjoy the present, which is very important.
There you go. And tell me, if you could, throughout this whole episode we just had, if you could
Yes.
sum up it with 3 words, which words would you use that kind of will sum up the whole episode?
Well, I was gonna say, do you, babe? But like three adjectives would be, let's see, stealth, peace, and ease. Wait, stealth, joy, and ease. Yeah, those are my three.
Stealth, joy, and ease. So it's
And then
S.
also, do you,
Uh-huh.
babe?
So it's SJE.
Yes, love it. SJE.
There you
Stealth,
go.
joy,
I'll
and
take
ease.
it.
SJE. Not
I'll take
Sarah,
it.
Sarah Jessica Parker, not SJP. Different one.
And you know what? My last question, so we can all enjoy and relax here after an epic chat. So here it is.
Yes.
What do you think that could be the best title for this episode?
Empowering yourself as an actor.
Powering yourself. I'll take it.
Have we like
I'll
covered
take it.
that? I don't know. That
Yeah.
kind of is all encompassing. Or I mean, there's also like being an auditioning actor versus a DIY actor. That's another one that I feel like is, but I
So
don't know if
which
people
one?
will understand that.
So
Mm,
shall we leave it with the first one instead, or?
okay, yeah, let's do empowering yourself as an actor. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Okay. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a franchise
Yeah,
already to me. What can
great.
I say? And
Yay.
at the end, what can I say? It's incredible to, yeah, it's always incredible to chat with you, but it's also incredible the fact that you are being you. You know what I mean? That you are just being you in this big world, make trying to make it,
You too.
following your passions. It is super inspirational, and it's amazing because I think it shows people out there that everything can be possible. And I think that being able to find someone who can deliver such a positive message to it, which is be happy, follow your dreams, follow your passions, it is super important to follow, especially right now in this crazy era we are currently living. That every single day when I watch the news, I'm like, we're so fucked right now.
Mm-hmm.
but the
I
fact that
know.
we but the fact that we can really if somehow we can relate with people like you and people who are showing with their craft, with their passion, some positive to it, I think somehow that is like a beacon of light in this darkness that we are getting surrounded with. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. Thanks, Dan. No, I appreciate that. And that actually is something that I'm realizing is part of my calling, is inspiring people and leading by example and, really just fostering a sense of, yeah, community, of self, of believing yourself. You set your mind to it, you can do it, and you're not alone. And like those are really um big pieces of my art too. So I'm so grateful that I get to do that through my art and also, help the world. Now I sound like I'm like, you're so amazing. But no, I appreciate you saying that because it's
Totally.
it's been a big thing of my journey of realizing that. So
And that's the thing here, that as long as everyone has like their own community to it, and as long as we keep positive to it, as a group of people, I do think that somehow we will be able to continue making the world like a better place. Sure, it takes time, and unfortunately, destroying things are more easy than to actually create things. Be negative is way more easy than to be actually positive.
oh yeah.
It's a shame that it's like that, but it's just the way it is. But I do think that if we can find the right people in our lives who can actually bring us joy and ignite that passion of us to continue creating whatever we're doing, I think we are on the right path, and at least we are still showing out that there's people who is willing to keep shining, and who are just doing their thing, and who are also keep getting bigger, this community of actually bringing something positive to this world. And I think that we actually need this right now. So yeah.
Absolutely. And just to add to that, I do think there are more people in the world that want to help the world and make it a better place than there are people who don't want that. And I think it's important for us to remember that too. Like there is power in numbers, and there are so many of us that do feel this way. And I felt that way for a long time, but it's kind of hard. Again, also with the media and social media and who's, of course, in America, everything that's going on. But I do believe that at the core, a lot of us want those same things. So it's important to remember that and to, yeah, just find solace in each other. So thanks for that,
There you
Dan.
go. Totally. So I want to thank you so much for making this happen. I do want to thank also those who stayed the whole episode. Let us know what you think in the comments below, but also on the description below, you're gonna follow up Sam's social media. Since by this point, I'm pretty sure you discover why she is super badass. Let's make her viral. Hashtag Team Sam. And again, thank you for making this happen. Keep shining out there, keep rocking, keep kicking ass, basically. And I'll be seeing you in the next one.
Thanks, Dan.
All right.